Yes, sir. I want to welcome everybody. Call this meeting to order June 20th, 2017, 6:04. At this time, I need approval of the agenda. Need a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
If any discussion, if none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Tonight we have invocation of pledge. Pastor Danny Mundy, Calvary Baptist Church. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chris. Let's stand, if we will, for our pledges, please. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's join in a word of prayer, please. Father, we come this evening grateful, Lord, for the opportunity, Lord, to stand before this board and before this audience, Lord, to ask your blessings on this meeting. Lord, these men and women, Lord, that serve us in these capacities in our county, Lord, we ask you to bless them, give them wisdom and understanding, Lord, as they handle the matters before them. Lord, things that will matter to, Lord, the individuals in our county, Lord, as well as our county as a whole. Lord, give them wisdom, Lord, to make the best right decision, Lord, that will affect everybody. And Lord, give us a better place, Lord, to raise our families and to serve you. Lord, I want to thank you for this county and, Lord, for this privilege that we still open our meetings with prayer and pledges. And Lord, I just ask you to bless each one here tonight. Lord, that they will speak when it's their turn, Lord, with dignity and wisdom. Lord, realizing the great privilege we have to do this. Lord, many places in the world will never see the opportunity to have this kind of freedom and this kind of thing. Lord, I pray, Lord, too, for our community. The last few days and weeks, Lord, we've been jolted and, Lord, rocked a little bit because of, Lord, tragedies and other things that's happened. Lord, even things around the world affect us. But, Lord, I pray tonight, Lord, that you'd bless the families of those correctional officers. God, that you'd be with them, be with our law enforcement, our military, police, firemen, Lord, first responders. God, they need your help and they need your blessings. Lord, again, thank you, Lord, for our community. Thank you for this place. And God, I pray you'd bless all that goes on here tonight. Lord, may it be pleasing to you in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thank you for the privilege.
Again, I'd like to welcome everybody. Tonight we've got a proclamation by the Jones County Board of Commissioners honoring the Jones County Pups Youth Track and Field Team. Mr. Martin, or can I say Coach Martin? I think it would be our privilege for you to address these young people and their accomplishments.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Mr. Chairman, our Board of Commissioners, parents, and attendees. This year we had a remarkable team. I had the privilege of being one of the coaches on the team. This is my first year coaching. I have two coaches in the back, Ms. Brewer and Ms. Quita. Could y'all please stand and wave? I'm going to use them tonight because they know some names. Please, yes. Awesome. This year we had a large number of track team members that went on to district and went on to state. If you ran at district, could you please stand? If you ran at district. All right, and I believe we took close to 58 to district. If you won at state in any capacity on a relay or a state team, please remain standing. If you broke a record, please stay standing. Jake, you did break a record. Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much. There were so many that went out and ran this year. It was amazing. I encourage you all to come out and take a peek, travel at least to one of these meets, especially if it's in Warner Robins. If we don't have a track by next year, pray that we do. But if we don't, let's get to Warner Robins and come take a look. They put on a good show, and our team did some amazing things. I don't remember the exact number, Ms. Brewer, if you could help me. 78. 78. Thank you. And how many were district champs? Do you remember?
I think around 42.
42 district champs. Okay, and state. Okay.
I think it was 4 or 5 states.
All right, 4 or 5 state champions and at least 15 placed in the state. So, you got the list. Fantastic.
There's always district proclamation.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you very much. They could save me some time. All right. Without further ado, proclamation, Jones County Board of Commissioners honoring Jones County Pups Youth Track and Field Team. Whereas the Jones County Pups Youth Track and Field Team is provided special recognition for their outstanding performances at the district and state meets. Whereas Jones County brought home 5 state championships from the Georgia Parks and Recreation Track Meet held May 5th and 6th, 2017. Whereas Lainey Doster, 14, won the girls 13-14 javelin throw with a toss of 52 feet, 2 inches. Whereas Aaron Blunt, 14, won the boys 13-14 400-meter dash with a time of 53.99 seconds for a new state record. Whereas Robert Roadheaver, 14, won the boys 13-14 800-meter run with a time of 2 minutes, 22 seconds, 80. Whereas Maya Anderson, 10, won the girls 9 and 10 200-meter dash with a time of 31.30 seconds. Whereas the team of Austin Martin, 13, Aaron Blunt, 14, Kendrick Wooten, 14, and Robert Roadheaver, 14, won the boys 13-14 4x400-meter relay. Whereas the Jones County had 3 second-place finishes and 3 third-place finishes. Now, therefore, the Jones County Board of Commissioners do hereby recognize the Jones County Pups Youth Track and Field Team for their outstanding performance. In witness thereof, we adhere to, set our hands, and cause the seal of the county to be affixed this 20th day of June, 2017. Signed, Margie Tyson County Clerk and Chris Widener, Chairman. Thanks again. Congratulations, team. If y'all could come up front so we can take a picture. Coaches and athletes.
Smile more.
All right, you all smile, say champion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. You did a very good job. Coach Martin.
Kids made it easy.
You ready? Consent agenda and approval of the minutes. First Tuesday, June 6th, 2017. Need a motion. Everybody had an opportunity to look at them and approve. Just consent agenda and approval of the minutes.
So moved, Chair.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. First thing on new business, fiscal year 2018 Public Defender's budget request. Well, you want to come forward?
Chairman,
How you doing?
I submitted the numbers in the letter, and I just, any questions y'all have, or anything you want me to present, otherwise. Our fiscal year runs July to June with the state, we're a state agency, and the last 3 years, it's always been the same budget, pretty much. The operating expenses stay the same every year. Almost every year we've been existing, we've given the counties a refund. Some years bigger than others, different reasons. This past year, we had a vacancy for a good while in one of our attorney positions, so nobody was getting paid, so we're turning some money back to the county. The only thing about this year's budget is that while we're not asking to go up any at all, we are asking to roll over a very small amount. The legislature's been very generous in the last 2 years with our agency. They've actually given us more money to help us get on solid footing, our public defender's office. And so they've given some raises the last 2 years for our attorneys. but we have 5 state attorneys and we have 5 county funded attorneys. So I'm coming to the counties to try to get them, they've already been lagging 1 year behind the others in getting a raise because the other ones for the state got it last fiscal year, last July. So basically what I'm asking for is, you can, I don't know if y'all got copies of the whole situation. Basically I'm just asking for $6,900 roughly to be rolled over. You're going to have almost that much in a refund this year, anticipating somewhere around $6,000 for Jones County for this year. Of course, we won't know the exact numbers until the end of July. Excuse me, end of June, and we'll pay the June bills in July. So you will be still getting a refund even with that done. You could take that money and let it sit kind of somewhere to go towards this number. It's going to be up next year, of course, because you're increasing the budget with these salary increases. I mean, that's obvious. So you can do that. Again, it's not a ton of money, but it means a whole lot to my lawyers. They're not in it to get rich. None of them are in it to get rich, be a public defender. So that's really the only difference in this year's budget over last year's.
Any questions?
The vacancy position that causes these rollovers, will it be filled for next year, or has it been filled since?
Yes.
So
Yes.
next year that we would bear the increases in the budget. I'm not sure that we can roll funds over from year to year. I think we have to start with a base budget to balance it. While I definitely agree, we have the same situation in Sheriff's Department going through when the state allows for pay increases and neglects the local level people. And but I'm not sure how we can address it without knowing what our budget's going to be next year, because we're required for a balanced budget. So
Well,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
unless it's something constitutional about a rollover, I don't think that would prohibit you from doing that, because you're going to know exactly what the budget amount is, because that's the dollar amount that we're requesting. What you don't know tonight, of course, is the exact amount of the refund, but you will know the amount that is being requested to move over. Or you could do it the other way, just increase the budget, and then you'd be getting a larger refund. In other words, if I'm predicting around 6,200 and asking for 69, to give it all back to you now, but then you'd be asking for it when you approve the budget. So we just felt like it was easier on the counties, just the state would have the money to pay it out.
Sure.
But whatever's good for the counties.
Mr. Resnick, you want to say something?
I was just going to talk a little bit about how I think the accounting piece of it works. And I just learned this a little while ago, so I'm trying to share this before I forget it. And correct me if I get this wrong. So, the Public Defender's Office has a set budget for the year. They pay a set amount each month. And then at some point, I think you reconcile your expenses and the amount you've received from us. And then we get a refund, I think maybe February or so of each year. And typically, I think what we've gotten is something in the $6,000 range.
It varies.
Yeah, or at least February of this year, we got something around 6,000. And so this time around, they're projecting the amount to be 13,200 or thereabouts.
Right.
And so 7,000 of that would go towards the increases, and we'd still get approximately the same amount in the way of a refund in February of 2018.
We'll probably get it sooner than that. That was just kind of slack on our part that we didn't get it all done. But yeah, probably in the fall sometime. Yeah. And looking at next year, it's going to be, there's always, we're very frugal with spending the money. And we've never gone over budget. We've always had refunds for the county, so there will be some coming in next year in addition to what you got this year, if you want to apply that to it.
sure.
I was just going to say, I don't recall in the past 4 years you come in and having this sort of opportunity or challenge, however we want to look at it. So maybe it was just always done behind the scenes where the rollover just happened, then it carried to the next year.
No, we've never done that before.
Okay, so this is the first time.
Yeah, this is the first time we've asked to move, and we don't have to do it that way. We could just ask the counties to just fund that money and it just be coming out of your refund. It's gonna be 6 of one, half dozen the other if it's approved.
Right.
See, but no, we've never asked in the past for any funds to be carried over that I recall.
Okay. And I noticed in your budget, there was also another $40,000 rollover from probably the state or something like that. I was just gonna
No,
ask.
that is the money.
The 40,000?
Right, that is.
3rd line item in the total expenditures.
That's the same thing.
Gotcha.
That's what it is.
Okay.
So it's just, so that money is in there, but it's built in as a rollover, so they're not asking for any additional funds.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that Jason get with Levita and find out what is normal protocol for this. If it's not out of order and what he's asking for is okay, so be it. If not, then we just make the budget adjustment at budgetary time.
Absolutely. Maybe, procedure, what we need to do is get Levita, and I'm sure everything will be fine, but just make sure we do it, correctly, be the best.
And then let us know what the procedure is for next time, because it seems like they're going to be here next year.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
It's probably best to, my opinion, to address it, because we're gonna have others come and ask for increases next year. And it's hard to speculate on next year's budget when we hadn't even finished with this one. Personally, I'd like to see just the refund to the county and then address the overage for, while we agree that there's increases at the state level that were not passed down to the local level, and so we're gonna have some parity issues we gotta work through. But we'd know more definite numbers during the budget cycle than we would now, I think, as far as the salary, what they need to be.
So are we waiting? Is that, as far as actual approving our contract, the state and county contract, are we waiting?
I guess we need to wait to budget time to go through everything. I don't see a problem with it, with the request, but I think we need to wait to budget time to do that. Is that gonna be all right? I mean, we're getting ready to address that. We'll start next week, correct, Jason? Going through your budgets? Just make sure, get with Mr. Levita, make sure we're doing everything like we're supposed to do properly, and go forward with that.
And mine wasn't necessarily a wait for an extended period of time. It was just let him get with the finance director to make sure that the process, we do it right, so we're not violating something that we're not aware of, because this is brand new. And we've normally had a pretty clean audit, so we're trying to keep it that way.
I understand. I've been there.
You get ready to retire pretty quick.
Well, I always want to make sure everybody understands this. I was going to say before I leave, I've enjoyed the partnership and everything the counties have done over the 13, we've completed 13 years as of June the 30th have been, for me. We didn't open our doors until January of 2005, so it'll be 13 for our operating in January. But as far as me, I started July 1, 2004. And I appreciate the counties working with us, because the state, when they got in it, they didn't get into it full time. As far full time, I mean by full funding, as we all know. But they have helped us immensely in the last couple of years, and I certainly wouldn't be remiss if I didn't appreciate them for doing that. Yeah, we don't know who my successor will be yet. I mean, I know who I'm going to, hopefully is going to get it, but we don't know that person yet. So that will be decided probably mid-July. So I will be leaving July the 31st. And what's kind of a problem for the Okmulgee Circuit is 8 counties is what I have to deal with. That's the most in the state for any judicial circuit. And so I go to 8 counties and to get the operating budgets. So it's kind of complicated. But I hope that you'll see fit to do that. Of course, we can't change anybody's salary until the contracts have been approved. So our fiscal year will start, like I said, July 1, but if y'all could just check on it and see what you can do procedurally, and otherwise, I hope you support it and support the contract, because we've always come in under budget, and feel like we will again this year. But this will be, unless we can talk about it in July while I'm still around, as far as under this title, will be the last time I'll be standing in front of y'all. So I want to appreciate the counties working with us. It's been great.
Well, we appreciate you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Butch.
Mr. Chairman, if I could say, y'all, of course, you don't work with the courts on a regular basis, but I was appointed as chairman of the panel for the Okmulgee Circuit when this whole thing started. And I know Commissioner Kitchens is very familiar with the Bibb County Public Defender's Office. And Butch Moore is recognized throughout the state as probably the public defender who runs, if not the best, one of the best offices in the state. As he said, we've got 8 counties in our circuit, and he's responsible for every one of them. I know how much the judges think of him. I know how the people in Atlanta who we make our recommendations to as to who gets the appointment, I know they think a lot of him. And he's, as you all know, most of you, he was born and raised in Jones County, served as chairman of the county commission for how many years, Butch? 4 terms?
21 years.
Yeah, and so he knows what y'all deal with. And we're going to really miss him. The court system's going to miss him. He's been a credit, as I said, to the circuit and to Jones County. And I just wanted y'all to know. Most of you know it already, but we've got a big job in deciding who his successor is going to be. And he's got literally some big shoes to fill, whoever the successor is. We're going to miss you, Butch.
Well, I appreciate that very much, Frank. Thank you. Well, you'll be busy in the next few weeks working on that, so. Yeah, but I appreciate y'all taking the time, and I hope we can get the contract approved. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to number 2, a new business. Annual agreement with Central Georgia Technical College, CGTC. Ms. Margie, I think, do you have this?
I can.
Okay.
This is an annual agreement. Their agreements come due July, run July through June of each year. It has been agreed that the county would help support the Central Georgia Technical College Adult Education Program by, they call it a grant for $20,000. And like I said, this has been done ever since I can remember, since I've been here. And it's just an annual agreement that they're asking for us to approve.
Okay, Mr. Chair. With that said, we need a motion. So we have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Any more discussion?
Just a question. I noticed in the contract it says they provide us with information on a quarterly and annual basis. Are we seeing any trends as to if we're helping the situation? Are we getting our workforce up to a level that needs to be? I mean, that's the whole goal of it.
Right.
And
we do get quarterly reports. I wish I had brought one with me to show you, but it does show that they do a lot.
If I don't mind, Ms. Norfleet, she normally comes and gives us a presentation on the accomplishments every year. So, and every year they're making great strides. So, I think it's a program that we need to continue to support and fund.
I agree 100%. Are they getting other funding resources? Because I know they struggle at community-based programs like this. Most all of them do. So, you know, if we're the only ones ponying up support, maybe we need to get some from somewhere else. Also,
any more discussion? Sure. If none, all in favor, aye? Aye. Ayes have it. Number 3 on the new business is intergovernmental agreement between Jones County and the City of Gray, whereby the City of Gray will provide $15,000 fund for the inclusive playground. My understanding that the county has to approve this in order for the city to come forward.
Mr. Chairman, I know we've got a city councilman here. Yes. I talked to John Newberry, the city attorney, a couple of times about this. I reported it at our last meeting, and I talked to John again yesterday, and he says, and Councilman may know something different, I don't think it really matters who signs it first. The city, I believe a committee looked at it here recently since their last meeting. John expects it to be approved in its present form. And he said that if that's done, they'll be meeting, I believe, on, instead of the 3rd of July, y'all's regular meeting, because of the 4th, the next day, y'all are gonna meet on the 5th, I believe. Is that right?
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, and John said y'all will take it up again that night probably. And if you pass it, then in the form it's in, and I don't think either body will have a problem with the draft, the form it's in, but it really doesn't really matter who signs it first.
That's correct. It's, like I say, it's under the, service delivery thing, then we can't just, because it's spelled out what y'all, I'm talking about the county has to provide and what the city provides. So we can't just arbitrarily just say, hey, here's some money. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we talked about it, and we did have a meeting last night, and we discussed it last night. So, it's on record. We've got, $15,000 for the playground.
Thank you.
And like I say, it's just a matter of and it doesn't really matter who signs first. Just like the last one, it doesn't really matter. As long as we both agree and the city's on board 100%.
That's great. The city and county working together on this project. That's big. That's real big.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, Mr. Barber.
No problem, John.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the county go ahead and you please sign this intergovernmental agreement, so we will receive the $15,000 for our inclusive playground.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second with extreme appreciation.
If there's any more discussion, if none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 4 on our new business is golf course issues. Matt Goen, Parks and Recreation.
Yes, sir. Good evening. I came to y'all a while back about the golf cart issues at the golf course, and at the time, EasyGo was trying to get us to go into a new agreement with them to get out of our existing contract, but nobody else could come on board or nobody else could bid on it at the time. We are now inside that window of opportunity to go into the bid process or go into state contract process. Yamaha does have a state contract where we could go straight through them to get a new agreement with our golf cart leases, or each company that I've spoken with, Club Car, EasyGo, or Yamaha, could go ahead and bid on us getting a new lease, a fleet of golf carts. The reason I'm here tonight, our lease is up in November. The reason I'm here now in June is I would like to go ask permission to go out for bid in July to get a new fleet of golf carts. What this would do is, you're all aware of our battery issues and our maintenance issues that we've had with our golf carts, and this would end the bleeding of the maintenance issues with that, get us into a new fleet, and move forward and get this issue behind us. Again, the money that we're paying for a monthly lease should not increase. My conversations with them, obviously I'm not going to go on record saying it won't, but my conversations with them about the prices and everything, our monthly bill should not change from what it currently is right now.
Just my thought, should we in writing have what we're looking for as far as maintenance on batteries? And I think wasn't that an issue that it wasn't quite clear as far as what we were getting in the past?
Well, the contract, the good thing about having a law degree as a county administrator, a person with a law degree, I hope our contract is definitely a lot stronger this time. I don't even know who agreed to the last contract, but there was a lot of verbiage that was very unclear who was responsible for what. And so they argue one thing, we try to argue another, and even Mr. Childs tried to argue with us, but there was a lot of verbiage that was just very unclear, very vague, so nobody took responsibility. So yes, that will be. And we're going to do something different this year than we've done previous years. We're going to bid both electric and gas. My research with other golf courses around us, such as Low Fishing Creek in Millersville, they operate through gas. They swear by it. They got away from electric a long time ago and said they'll stay with gas due to maintenance issues.
What's our current monthly lease obligation for those?
$3,000 and some change. I don't remember exactly.
That's a 3-year lease, 2.5?
It's a 48-month.
48 months, 4 years. Okay. And on the state contract with Yamaha, what does Yamaha's numbers look like?
he wouldn't give it to me. I asked for that. He knew I was coming to a meeting tonight, and he didn't know whether it was going to be doing the bid process or the state contract. So he didn't want it to be, I don't know, he didn't want it to go public record and give the other people a chance to beat his bid.
Enlighten me, if it's on the state contract, isn't that public information?
It is, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
We don't want to mess up the bid process.
I don't know. I honestly don't know the ansher to that, sir.
I'm just saying, you know, we get ready to buy a Ford truck, it's right there, the price is there, so. All right, no problem. And our current contract with EasyGo, will they be rebidding, just out of curiosity?
They would be.
All right, thanks.
And not to knock EasyGo by any means, we've been a partner with EasyGo. I shouldn't say a partner. We have been leasing carts from EasyGo. I don't know if you don't call it a partnership, but we've been leasing carts from EasyGo since 1992, I believe it was, 92 or somewhere in the 90s. So it's been a long time we've been dealing just with EasyGo.
You would think at $144,000 for a lease, batteries and minor maintenance wouldn't be a big issue.
I agree. So I'm asking permission to enter into either state contract or the bid process, or both, to see which one's cheaper for us.
I would say we need to look at both to figure out where our best option is going to be. I wouldn't limit it to just one. I'd like to see them all, so we know where our best options are. That's my feelings on it. With that said, there's no more questions for Matt. I need a motion to.
So, shall I make the motion that Matt goes out for both the state contract as well as with other vendors, EasyGo and Yamaha, some others that he mentioned?
Are we going to do electric and gas?
Yes, to get a bid on both of them, yes.
Yes, sir.
All right, we have a motion second. No more discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, Matt.
Matt, how many members do we have at the golf course right now?
83, I think, was my last. It's in the 80s.
You did it. Okay. Number 5 on new business, we've got policies on board appointments. Ms. Margie, I think you're working on this.
Yes, sir. The policy that's being proposed in your packet also has a application that board members would complete and submit. And the policy proposed provides basic guidelines, such as being an elector of the county and not being on multiple boards. It addresses attendance and provides policy guidance. There's a procedure to advertise 2 months out on the website as well as in the paper. And the application provides specific information that would determine their interest and their expertise for board membership. And
Term
so
limits?
I ask for a motion to approve.
Term limits? Term limits?
Yeah. What is the recommendation of the board on term limits?
I would say 2 terms and sit 1 out. Gives people an opportunity to bring some new blood in. An opportunity to allow, whether we have groups like PLAN or other local groups that have any interest in advocacy and intergovernmental operations, to participate and see the process, as opposed to Joe's been doing it for 20 years, let Joe keep doing it for 20 years.
Put that in the form of a motion with term limit.
I would add it as number 13.
Okay.
2 consecutive terms, 1 out.
But do you want to have a coming in where it's up to the board, if you can't find someone, and the board has a right to reappoint that person?
No, because I think we have 4 years or 2 years to figure that out. And I think oftentimes we just kind of let it go for whatever reasons. I mean, look at our board of assessors. I mean, 24 years on the board, and no offense to people who served that level of time, we've had significant litigation, and those people still remained on the board. That's the part that concerns me. You know,
And with all due respect to Commissioner Martin, I don't think that's a policy issue. I think that's our issue, you know, and our collectively, past boards and present board. My fear is I don't think we have people beating on the door to serve on boards, especially non-paying boards. And I think we're going to, while I, you know, agree with the term limits, I think on appointed boards, we should have the wherewithal to make those tough decisions, whether someone is doing what they are supposed to be doing, or we vote them off the board.
In light of the current litigation with our tax assessors board, we didn't vote anybody off.
Well, Commissioner, that litigation's not over either.
I got you, but you know, it's been
And
ongoing.
anybody can get sued. I mean,
I got you, but we have a pattern, and that's what I'm saying. We weren't proactive.
We don't need to be talking about the Board of Assessors or any other board that volunteers for this county.
It's relevant, Mr. Chairman, because these are the actions that we're talking about, that if we don't have term limits, then it just kind of perpetuates. If we do have a term limit, we stop it. Whether we do an active thing or not, it happens. That's all I'm saying.
All right, so your motion is based on Ms. Margie's recommendation with adding 13 with a term limit?
2 terms and then off 1. They can come back on the 4th one, 2 terms off 1.
Okay.
I just see it's just a challenge because I know that plan board, I know Mr. Matthews has been trying to get somebody to oversee that, but nobody's stepping up to the plate. So I just like the commission have that option to reappoint them after those 2 terms, but we'll see what the board decides. So,
We can always amend this prior to that time. We'll be
right.
to. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Was adding 13 with term limits?
I move that we accept the policy on board appointments with the addendum of item 13, 2 consecutive terms, 1 off.
We have a motion. We have a second. We have no second. Motion dies for lack of a second. Do we have a motion to accept it based on how it's written currently?
Chairman, I'd like to see us increase the attendance rate, though. 50% is not, I mean, that's just mediocre in my opinion. If they're there to serve on that board, they should be at least 75% of the time.
I
For
agree.
excused reasons, not, you know.
So you're making a motion to?
I am, and I had one question for the attorney. When it says no more than one committee at a time, I assume that when these terms expire is when they can't. I mean, we're not going to pull people off a board because they're on the right.
Presently, that's correct.
Right.
Yes.
Got it.
What's the clawback for not making 50% or not making 75%? Do we immediately appoint?
That would be up to the board. If the board wanted to open it up to new applicants, you could, or if you wanted to.
Yeah, it says they submit a report to the Board of Commissioners for consideration and of removal. So I think we hold accountable that liaison to this board for that committee to bring us back reports on attendance and along with the meetings, minutes, agendas.
So this time you in the form of a motion, we've got board appointments with a minimum of 75% attendance rate.
Yeah, attendance rate.
You got that? We have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
Motion and second. Any more discussion? If none, all in favor? Aye.
Opposed?
One opposed. New business number 6, award bid for construction installation of septic tank drain field for Highway 18 recreation. Excuse me.
Good evening again, Commissioners, Mr. Chairman. I think Ms. Margie put in y'all's booklet a printout that Mr. Tim Ingram sent out to us earlier today. I would first like to start by saying I would like to table the recommendations. We don't really have a recommendation to take. The reason being is the lowest bid came in well above our budgeted price. So I'd like to table any awarding at the time and go into consideration of looking at an alternate avenue of the sewer system. I know that Mr. Ingram has done some preliminary research and come up to where we could do an alternative source of sewer closer to our price range. Our initial price range for the sewer, we were thinking anywhere from $35,000 to $55,000. We're well above that with the bids. That is due to so many requirements that the state has put upon us. We have been fighting with the, I don't want to use negative words, that's going to go back toward Floyd. Floyd's been doing a great job. But the state has put so many requirements on the sewer system out there at the ballpark that once we finally got everything and satisfied the requirements of that, the bid came in well above our budgeted price. So, table any recommendations as far as any awarding of bids, and look at myself, Mr. Ingram, Mr. Risner, and as an alternative, come back with you at the very next meeting with an alternative source of sewer.
Well, you know, the animal rescue also got hit. I'm not rescue, but animal services building also got hit with the same state mandates that ended up doubling the price of that system. So it's, you know, it's not we blame the state on everything, but they have imposed a lot of extra on us that you normally wouldn't see in this.
Over the years, it's been well over $1 million put on the taxpayers of Jones County a year, per year.
Is there an option to connect to the city? I mean,
that's what we're going to look into. Yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity, did we look at it in advance, and what's the tap fee? Is it?
We did look at it in advance. I do not know the tap fee. Mr. Ingram made, but the reason we initially chose to try to do our own septic system is for the residual monthly payment that we will have if we decide to go the city way. That's a monthly payment you pay from now on. We tried to do it in-house so that we wouldn't have that residual monthly payment. Because we had the space to do it, to put in the drain field.
And I'm going to ask a stupid question, all right? Is there a reason why, as a county, we can go to the city in kind, because this is a mutual benefit? Okay.
I don't like the way you said in kind.
It's a new year, new board, new opportunities. Hey.
Seriously, we did discuss this last night, and the city council, and we are open. We talked about we would like to, for all members, including, of course, the county administrator, set up a meeting with the city council, and we'll listen to what y'all got to, what your plans may or may not be, what we have to offer, and see if we can work out something that would be mutual to both governments, but more importantly, to the citizens of the county.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. What does a tap cost? Do you know offhand? Roughly?
Depends on the size. And
what part of negotiation didn't you understand?
No. I was just curious. I have a ballpark. I got to get a number.
Okay. We have an open mind. Seriously.
Fair enough.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we reject all bids with the intent of looking towards working with our gracious partners at the city and our new relationship building platform, and looking towards a tap fee, tapping into the city sewer system.
All right, we got a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Any more discussion? We're all in favor, aye?
Aye.
I have it.
We're going to bid out the horse lane
Lift station.
lift station.
Is it really over 25,000?
Well, look at it. That's what I was joking with you earlier about. We had some plumbers on
The estimate was 50 to 60.
Tim, does this include the pump station?
It is a small station.
4H, probably 2 horsepower, maybe 2.5. Probably pumping about 80 or 90 gallons, 100 gallons.
I don't know. Would that be enough to meet our need? It would, okay. That's good.
Chairman, one other thing is that with our new ordinance on irrigation systems, I'd also recommend that we run a separate irrigation meter so we don't pay sewer for irrigation.
We would need to make a different tank for the rec complex, that concession stand, so you wouldn't have a irrigation also. All right, let's move on. Number 7, part-time staffing for Highway 49 gym and after-school use.
Mr. Chairman, we acquired that gym over a year, almost 2 years ago, it feels like. Not done anything with it. Staffing's partly an issue, probably the major issue. And then putting in the necessary items to make sure that we can have, activities there. I'm recommending that we allocate 80 to 90 hours during the summer. I don't know what the hours are at the highway, the government center. I have no idea what the hours are.
Right. I don't know what I was going to suggest or propose to the board. To my understanding, we did not have a church league. So I'm thinking we may have some fund. I'm asking Matt to give us some input on it. Being we'd have a church league, maybe he has some funds left over that, whereas Laverne would have been working the church league. Those funds could be used towards having a part-time person to go to Highway 49 and work a couple hours to have the gym open. Is that an option?
Well, the answer to that is an option, yes, sir.
Okay.
But if he's over there, nobody's here.
Right.
So I'm all in support of doing it, and I think that gym should be open. It needs to be utilized. I've wanted that gym to be utilized as an after-school summer program gym since the day we purchased it. Right. And I think, I got several ideas of how to do so, but I think, the most you can do part-time is 29 hours a week. What we do here is 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock in the afternoons.
In the summer, we do 5 to 9?
Yes, sir. We opened it, we've never opened it earlier. We have considered opening it earlier, but it's so hot in there because there's no AC. Now Matty Wells has AC, so you can open it earlier.
Right.
This one has no AC, so opening it too early in the day, just a heat box in there.
Yeah.
But Matty Wells does have heat. It has central heat and air, so it doesn't matter what time of the year. You can open it at any time. But I do think we have a great facility over there. It's a shame that it's sitting vacant doing nothing.
But do you have any funds that you could?
I mean, not to my knowledge. I'd have to get with Levita, but not to my knowledge. I think my salary budget's tapped out. I do know that we had a guy leave, and there's 63 cents that we. I had a guy leave. The difference in his pay versus someone else's pay, there was when I replaced him, there was 63 cents sitting out there that I gave back to the general funds. So I'd have to sit down and do the math. I don't know how far that 63 cents would go, but that's 63 cents on a full-time employee. But I still don't think that really goes a whole long ways.
Gotcha. How much is remaining in the Parks and Rec budget at this point?
Here, know where I go.
I'm sure you do.
That close, huh?
Yes, sir. Salaries.
Not salaries, just Parks and Rec budget total.
Oh. Well, the way my budget's laid out, every park has its own budget, so I'd have to sit here and add them all up.
I got you. I was just curious if you had
I don't have one giant budget. I'd have to sit here and go through each one. Because 49 has its own, 18 has its own, Matty Wells has its own, this gym has its own. They're all independent of each other. But the salaries are all together as one.
Right,
We're looking at salaries.
But we've never budgeted for it, so there wouldn't be a budget for it.
No.
That's why I asked.
That's correct.
In the Parks and Rec budget, is there $100,000 left, $200,000, $300,000?
I think at the end of the year, every year, I think I have between $30,000 and $50,000 that sometimes comes back that's not spent, and that is a lot of times. I know you're gonna write it down. But that's irrigation funds, that's gasoline funds, that's funds that you don't ever know. I mean, price of gas may shoot back up, and then all of a sudden I need that extra $8,000 that I didn't use this year because price is at $2 a gallon versus $3.75 a gallon. So there's a lot of fluctuations to why that number changes and moves around.
But just putting this in perspective, there's 4 weeks left in the summer. Even at 90 hours at $10 an hour, we're talking $3,600 for the rest of the summer.
That's it.
I mean, if we're talking 4 weeks. During the school year, if we ran 40 hours, we're talking $400 a week, $20,000 a year, including the summer. Right now, from where we are, you're talking $23,000 if you ran a whole year, including the summer numbers.
So you feel like it's $4,000 to run the summer program for the
rest of the week,
rest of the summer.
Yeah.
You reckon you find 4,000?
I'm sure me and Levita can.
Okay. So I'm all for that.
Solve that problem.
Yeah, thank you. I need a motion to do that?
I guess we need to make it official with a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we fund the summer program for the 49 track habit. And I see this, it looks like a track, so for the summer program for $4,000 for the remainder of the summer.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any more discussion?
None, that's within the budget.
Existing budget, right?
Within his existing budget. Any more discussion? If none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Number 8 on new business is T-Splosh Top Priority Selection. Mr. Risner, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you all know, the Regional Roundtable is working through the T-Splosh process leading up to their target is a November election, and this is a regional T-Splosh, and so the Regional Commission is coordinating the work of the roundtable. The roundtable is comprised of each chairman and one mayor from each county. And so Chairman Widener sits on the roundtable, and then they've got an executive committee that does kind of a lot of the legwork of that group with the assistance of the Regional Commission. So you may recall that several months ago we had a list of road projects. We prioritized that high, medium, low because that's what they asked for at the time. They have now come back to us and asked for a numerical priority. And so I had a conversation with one of the members of the executive committee a few days ago, one day last week. The way he explained it to me was that the roundtable intends to give each community their number one priority automatically. So no matter what the dollar amount is, that number one priority would go on the regional list to be submitted to voters in November, hopefully, if the process plays out. And so I think we had 5 projects that were considered high priority, and so I guess there's a couple ways that you could look at going about this. One is if you just want to select the top one, your top priority project, and then we could just go down the list as it was written and go 2 through 18, I think, or we could go through and actually figure out a numerical priority from 1 to 18 on the whole list. But what we definitely, what you guys definitely need to do is just figure out a number one priority from the list that we can submit back to the Regional Commission, and then let me know how you want to go about numbering the rest of the projects.
When does it have to be back to them?
I don't know if they gave me a deadline.
June 30th.
They did give me a deadline.
Mm-hmm. We've got July. I think we've got a roundtable meeting in July. I'm looking at the list, and I mean, tell me, the worst one on here, I mean, the most needed is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Comer Road would be the, or are we looking at Cheehaw Bridge replacement?
Or just food for thought, what is the most expensive project?
Rail spur.
Right, out of the high priority projects, it would definitely be the rail spur. And on the list, all total, it'd probably be the cross county connector thing, which is something that was looked at maybe 10 years ago.
The reason I bring that up is we know LMIG is based on mileage, population, you know, there's a formula.
Right.
So we know we're getting a certain dollar amount for that. Would it be penny-wise to guaranteed number one, be the highest cost, and then we can actually do more with the LMIG money that we get, or, you know, do we go with the most needed?
Was that number one, I mean, that was they were gonna definitely approve the number one, or is that was just that number one for consideration?
The way it was explained to me was that whatever we submit as our number one, they're gonna put on the regional list. And that was just one conversation with one member of that executive committee. But
then the round table has to vote on if that project's gonna go through or not.
That's right.
Because the way this list is now, if we kept it prioritized the way it is now, we 5 through 15, way down the road before we get to them.
And
do the rail spur.
And it's hard to say how many end up on the regional list. It's kind of a matter of how the chairman and his negotiations in there and getting us as many projects as he can. And then somewhere down the road they'll put it into bands typically, where you know, if it's a 10-year T-Splosh, you know, you have 3 bands that are, you know, 3 years plus each. And so some projects you're not going to get until 10 years out from when the collections start.
But tonight we just need number one. We don't have to give them 1 through 10 or whatever we have on the list.
As long as y'all are okay with me just kind of going down this list, you know, picking number one and then just taking this list in the order that it stands right here and ranking the rest of them. I think they want to rank for each project.
Were these how we ranked them out when we ranked them before?
I don't know that there was any priority within the high, medium, low. If you look at the list that has 2017 T-Splosh Jones County projects and then high, medium, and low priority in your packet, I don't know that we prioritized them within the high, medium, and low categories.
Is that an option? We just send out a priority list to each one and you rank your high, medium, and low and tally them up?
Yeah.
Sounds easy enough. When I think of regional projects, again, what's the regional impact of each one of these? Not just what do we want to get done. And if it's on the list and all the chairmans are there from the 11 counties, is Comer Road a regional project? All right. What about Henderson Road? You know, and Cheehaw, again, guys, these are roads that you guys have traveled on all your lives. I've been here 17 years, you tell me. I know I go on Comer Road, but regional impact, what is it going to have? And I'm not just saying it just because of the industrial park. If I struck a line through it, what's a regional project that all these guys are going to go, yeah? Or they're going to give us one. If they're going to give us one, then we pick the one that's going to have the greatest impact for our constituents. And which project, which road is that? Is that Comer? Is that Cheehaw?
The railroad spur.
Railroad spur.
I mean, regional impact on this list, you know, your railroad spur would be the only thing regionally that would be you know, looking at it that direction.
Are other counties looking at it as a regional impact or regional resource? Because a lot of counties may be looking at it for lack of a better word, selfishly, as a regional collection dispersed so that you can use it locally. I mean, I would agree that the theory should be, what's the benefit regionally, but if all others are not, then the interconnecting highways between us and joining counties is not being looked at.
The three regions that passed it several years ago, they all went about it in very different ways in terms of what types of projects were included, and so I guess it's up to the roundtable to kind of steer it in one direction or the other, or somewhere in between, it's an interesting process to watch play out from a political science standpoint, I guess, but it's a lot about what projects communities need and what projects it's just like putting together any SPLOST. You're trying to put together a package that's things that the community needs and that are attractive to voters and that type of thing. So I think it could go either way, kind of depending on where that roundtable group wants to take it.
That's why your number one is in there, so you can get buy-in from the region.
Well, we need direction from the board. Which direction now?
I'm going to recommend Weaverville Industrial Park Rail Spur from a regional perspective.
We have a motion on the rail spur being our number one. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Nope. On, Tommy was no.
And giving him direction, the rest will fall in order from just how we have it listed, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down.
Unless, you can, or if you want to get with maybe John Lowe, you and John look at this list and see if he feels like something needs to be over the other, just that way, if something needs to be moved, let them move it based on maybe John's thoughts that we might need to move something up.
Or I can send something out if y'all want me to, and y'all just rank them individually, and I can average the numbers out and put it together that way.
All right.
Whichever y'all prefer.
And that's fine with me.
Need some clarity too on making sure that number one is guaranteed.
Yeah.
Because if it's a split, then we don't want to spend all our money if it's not the top priority. Just only if it's guaranteed, and because we feel like number two is almost an automatic too. I mean, we will at least get that much money to start with 2, 3, and 4. So if they told us that it's either Comer Road or the highway or the spur, the vote might be a little different.
Give me a good number 2 and I can negotiate.
You probably will.
Oh yeah. Just make sure I got a good backup. Well, we weren't quite thinking about that. Make sure I got a good number 2. All right. We're through with that. We can go forward. All right. All right. We're down to number 9 on new business, budget amendment. Mr. Risner, I think you had something to say.
I'll talk a little bit and might turn it over to Frank, if that's okay, for some comments. Basically, you have before you a budget amendment. This is not adding any money to the budget, just moving between departments, and this is kind of the result of a case that came down from Georgia Supreme Court related to the formulas for computing constitutional officer salaries. And Frank, can I just kick it over to you at this point, and,
sure,
and anything you want to add there?
We're glad to. As Jason said, this came about as a result of a case from Chatham County toward the end of last year, where the former Superior Court clerk had sued the county over what he contended salary that he had been entitled to that he was not paid. And as Jason also said, of course, the constitutional officers all have state minimum salaries, depending on population pretty much. And then the counties can supplement those salaries however they want to. And the state provides that for every term, after a 4-year term, a constitutional officer provides, he or she gets a 5% longevity raise. So there are a lot of formulas and things that go into computing their salaries. In Jones County, we've had since back in the 80s, I think, pretty much comparable to what most counties have, where the constitutional officers get a percentage of their pay raise based on what the county employees get. And usually there's a minimum, which is 3%, which they get no matter what the county folks get. And then there's those are COLAs. Those are the cost of living adjustments at the county level. And the state also has COLAs that the constitutional officers are supposed to get. Now, what's happened in the case in Savannah resulted in the clerk down there who had only served 3 terms getting in excess of $300,000 in what he had not been paid because his salary had not been computed correctly. And so when that case came down from the Supreme Court, the different associations, the clerks, the different ones, probate judges, sheriffs, tax commissioners, they all told their folks to look at it. So our constitutional officers here in Jones County are taking what I think is a very reasonable approach to this. They have been underpaid according to what these formulas should be. But what they, all 4 of them, and if we're talking about the sheriff, the probate judge, the Superior Court clerk, and the tax commissioner, those are the 4 constitutional officers. And what they feel like they should do, and at a minimum what we should do, is get their salaries to where they should have been, and this is a year they start a new term. Of course, this year, January 1st, started a new 4-year term for each one of them. So this amount of money here in this budget amendment, which is just over $11,000, is what it would take to get their salaries where they need to be, and then be at that level going forward. Jason, is that what you wanted? Jason and Levita have worked on the dollars and cents of this thing, and I of course have been more involved in the legalities of it, and this is what they've come up with as far as the numbers and the dollars it would take, considering that our 4 constitutional officers are not trying to go back and recoup money they technically would be entitled to for years past. I think it's very reasonable what they're asking for, and it's what they're legally entitled to.
And just one last thing there, Judge Green had some funds available in his budget, and he approached us and said that he was willing to allow us to use those funds to move to the other departments to so that this is not an addition to the budget. This is simply moving funds from one department to several others, and certainly appreciate him doing that.
We need a motion for this budget amendment.
So moved.
We have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
No more discussion, all in favor is aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Moving down to old business. Funding consideration for installing water meters. Mr. President, your name drops out this one. Administrator and Betty Wiggins, water sewer superintendent.
Thank you.
Got a couple of you on this.
Yeah. I'll start off and Freddie, just chime in or tell me what I get wrong here. We've looked at a couple different things over the last few weeks related to funding the install of our of the remaining water meters that need to be replaced. I think we're nearing completion of the installation of the first batch that was purchased, the 1,000 meters, and in the water workshop we had, we talked about the need to replace most of the rest of what we have, and so Freddie and I were kind of charged with looking at different options for paying for that, and so we've talked some about the additional revenue that may be generated by the new meters, but for the purposes of this analysis, since those meters haven't been in the ground for too terribly long, and my recommendation would be to let that play out a little longer before we do anything based on new revenue there. But, and Tim's here too, and Tim has run some numbers on what it would cost to finance the purchase of the new meters. Tim, you okay if I present some of these numbers that you sent to me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So the new water rates that went into effect just recently, between the base rate and the per gallon charges should generate something in the neighborhood of $71,000 per year in additional revenue. Tim ran the numbers at a 4% interest rate, borrowing $525,000, 8-year term. Monthly payment amount is about $6,400, and the revenue just from that increase should cover like 92% of that. So that may be an option, just paying for it out of existing revenue in the water department. So that's one thing we've looked at, and Freddie's talked with, there's other financing groups out there that'll finance it on a lease purchase basis. So that's one option that's hanging out there. Another thing that we explored recently, Georgia Power has gotten into the water meter business, and so we met with Georgia Power. They have, for those of you that have Georgia Power at your house, they don't come out and read your meter anymore. They have a tower system where they read your meter. About 3.5 years ago, they linked up with Census, which is a company that makes water meters, and have kind of applied the same technology from their electric meter reading to water meter reading, and they've got a system where they can do it for no upfront cost, and the per meter per month amount, and I'm just going from memory here, but I think for their top of the line meter it was maybe $4.11 per meter per month. That's with a new meter and new register and with them reading it, and it reads, I think, once per hour, where right now we read meters, I guess, once a month. I don't know what the new system does, but you get a lot more data there that you can use. You get alerts for high usage or alerts for no usage, and so there's a lot of data that goes along with that. There's a cost there that we would have to find some way to absorb. So I don't know that I have a final recommendation for you at this point, but those are some things that we've explored and are still kind of looking into all of this. And I've rambled on long enough. I'll turn it over to Freddie and Tim if they have any comments, if that's okay, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Like Jason said, I've been talking to Government Capital, it's a loan company out in Texas. Also, I did email Randy Hartman, ACCG, about lease purchase also. If we borrow $500,000 over 7 years, the monthly payments will be $6,700. That's for $380,000 for the water meters, and I just put down roughly $120 for installation, incidental meter box, curb stops, meter lids, stuff like that. So just like Tim ran the numbers, that will be more than enough to take care of our monthly payment. There's no penalty for paying off early. We have up to a year once we sign this to start making the payment. I hadn't really got much into ACCG because I just got this today. But on here, it's got like, you fill out this application of what you want with water meters, a truck, a meter excavator, and then you send it in, and then the local banks compete for our business. And they have 10 days after they receive a quote to send us a quote back. And then once we get a quote back, the county has 2 to 5 days to accept or reject any and all quotes. And so, without really a bottom line number of dollar amount that we go ask for with ACCG or government capital, it's kind of hard to tell you what the payments are going to be. In my budget, which I'm presenting to County Administrator tomorrow, I like to have a new mini excavator. I only need 2 trucks. But Jason's supposed to get with a government price list on the 4 trucks. I got a quote from Caterpillar for 308E, mini excavator and a trailer. I just got a budgetary number, and so I got that for the 2 trucks and the trailer. I don't have any hard numbers on it, so when Jason and I sit down with Levita and the budget team tomorrow, my capital investment, I don't know really what to put, because I don't know how much I'm gonna need to borrow, or how much y'all wanna borrow for the meter replacement and for equipment.
How much does a meter cost right now, Freddie?
Right now, I can get 2,500 for roughly 3,800. I wish 3,800. 380,000.
And how many more meters do we need to install?
Roughly 2,500 at max. That's roughly about $150 a meter. Last time we bought was 175. We went about 500 last time.
How many customers? Georgia Power deal you were talking about, do they replace the meters every so often?
20 years, wasn't it? They guaranteed 20 years, wasn't it?
I'd have to check and see.
Yes, yeah, 20 years.
How many customers do we have?
Well, Haddock and everything about 3,800.
Well, let's just round that up to 4,000. You got 16,000 a month. Georgia Power is going to be charging to read meters.
And they don't let read them all now, because some of them dry counties, Henderson Road, Highway 57, River North probably fail to do it. But they got to put antennas up every so often, so I don't know whether they can be able to read them all or not.
What are we averaging a week now installing?
We got about 30 left, and that's it. Hopefully we through by the end of the month.
Kind of where we left it with Georgia Power was they were going to take our list of service addresses and overlay that with their service areas and just see what they can read with their existing infrastructure. So if our area and theirs overlaps by a good deal, then that they wouldn't have to install as much in the way of infrastructure, and the cost comes down, I think. So.
Just out of curiosity, the meter that we're currently installing is a $150 meter. The meter that Georgia Power is putting in, what's the cost on that one, or something equitable?
This iPearl has a price on them.
Tim, you know?
But the difference between the one we read, our antenna is fixed on top of the register of the meter. iPearl runs a wire from the top of your meter register to your lid. They cut a hole in the lid and put like a little mushroom in there. And that's what it sends the signal.
I was just curious because at $4 a month, using the cost of our meter at 38 months, now we're paying them because the first 38 months, it's covering what we paid for or paid into our meter. So 3.5 years is not a bad deal, but after that, then it gets to be costly. And I was just curious if it is a superior meter, then there's some value in that. But I'm not sure that I want to pay $16,000 a month for meters for life.
And Commissioner Martin, I don't know whether they can retrofit the Hershey meters that we've been spent $200,000 on already in the grant.
Right.
Well, a couple years ago when gave y'all the proposal, the ROI was like 3.5 years.
Yep.
And so I just want to throw that food for thought.
We don't make ROI with this. It goes negative.
Right.
This, maybe I'm oversimplifying it, but just $71,000 a year increase in revenues. We can install them in-house. We're doing that now. We know that number's going to increase, and if 71,000 nearly pays for what we're going to put in new ones, can we dedicate the $71,000 increase in revenues into the construction fund that he's already got and self-sustain as we go along? We're drawing enough money into it as we're putting the meters in, because every meter we put in is a new revenue, or a better revenue, not new, but it's a better resource. So.
But we know for a fact we're gonna have 71,000.
Well, I would, if not, then we take a conservative estimate to pay back the construction fund, because that's a known amount every year that we budget, right? Because it's not increasing the expenditure side.
It's $1 each, like.
Right.
Like your service, my service, $1 goes in this fund, $1 goes in this fund.
But if we know we're increasing by 71,000, and we know we're putting 71,000 to a new project, then we're still net zeroing at the end of the year.
I think as long as your operating expenses stay constant.
Well, the construction fund is not contingent on the operating expense, though, so we budget that separate from the construction fund. So I would think paying for that new project, we're returning our own investment instead of paying somebody else, I would think.
It's like borrowing to get your 401k. Essentially, how much do we have in our construction account?
Back in April was last time.
And the only reason why this is relevant is, do we buy all the meters at once, or do we buy 300 meters? If it takes them 6 months to put in 3,000 meters.
Are we sitting them on the yard waiting to be installed?
Right.
Or do we get a better price by buying, of course, more in quantity? If we do 500, like last 500 we bought was 175 apiece.
Well, we can sign a contract with a drop shipment, drop payment.
Right.
You know, they know they're going to sell the 3,000, 4,000 meters. We don't want them today.
Right.
But then again, are we confident that the revenues are going to help generate enough funds to cover the costs, to cover the loan, and not at the end of the day have a return on investment?
If not, we cut Freddie's budget.
Wait a minute now.
Second.
I'm making money this time, you know? I'm about for $1,000 too good. What else am I?
Uh-oh.
While we borrow money.
Let me write that one too.
While we borrowing money.
Budget right here.
Y'all keep talking.
I'm going nowhere with that.
Yeah.
So if your 400K is good, we don't need to borrow any money, right?
No, we need to borrow some. I can't tell what might happen more.
Jeez.
It's around 150. Last in April, I think it was around 140, 150,000.
That's almost half. Mr. Chairman, my motion would be we use the construction fund to purchase the maximum amount of meters that we can buy, suggesting negotiating best deal with drop shipment.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a second. Any more discussion?
I do. So Jason, my comment is, are we confident that if we go this direction that we're going to have the revenues and making this going to be profitable to make sure this is a positive return on the investment?
My only concern is that so are we saying just use the money currently in the construction fund and not touch the 71,000 additional revenue from the rate increase?
Is that real money?
It should be.
You see, I guess I'm hearing a lot of should or woulda, and I hate to go along with this. We're not confident. We're not concrete that this is going to be profitable.
Sure.
So just part of my discussion is I want to be confident from our county administrator and our ward department director, guys, this is the best direction to take. We've researched this. We've looked at our numbers. It's a go. And I'm not hearing it right now.
Yes, I think it is.
I'm not hearing it from Jason. So until I hear from Jason, then
We haven't
I can't
seen-
support it.
The increase from the ones that's been installed. so.
Right, so it just, right now, I mean, if the board goes in that direction, that's fine, but I cannot support it, not getting a confidence from my county administrator.
Yeah, we're only talking construction. We're not talking borrowing. We're talking using the real construction money we already have.
Right.
Already got an account, and it's gonna be replenished to a certain amount each month.
Yeah,
So
like I
it's
said.
just no brainer, taking money out and putting money back in.
So is the alternative you want to borrow money?
I don't want to borrow any money. I don't want to borrow any money. I just want to be, I want a county administrator to express to the board that he is confident for us to go in this direction with all the knowledge that he knows about our water department.
Call Mr. Ingram up here.
And at this time, if he's not ready to make that recommendation, then I can't support it.
I'm confident and comfortable pulling money from the construction fund that's currently sitting there to do the work. I'm not as comfortable saying to you do anything with the projected additional revenues from the meter install or the projected additional revenue from the rate increase. But if we're just saying pull from the construction fund that's sitting there, that's money that we have now, I'm comfortable with that.
All right.
Did the 71,000 come from active accounts that are at a set dollar amount? We know a known increase. So that is, I'm comfortable that unless we're planning on cutting a lot of people off, or people are going to move out of the county all of a sudden and discontinue water service, that's a pretty good known. I mean, all we're doing is adding to what we know we're getting now from a rate increase.
I would say I'm comfortable that we're going to get it. Typically when you do a rate increase, it's to cover additional operating costs that you have. So my concern with touching that 71,000 right now, just tonight, is not knowing exactly what those operating costs are doing, what direction they're going, if they're going to stay constant, or what they might do. So the unknown for me is how much of that 71 goes to operating costs that may be going up, and how much is really available there that's excess that we could spend on something like this.
My friendly amendment to my previous motion is that on a monthly basis, at least 4,000 of the projected money comes back to the construction account. So that way you can kind of see it, because we won't know unless we start seeing the payback. I don't want to take all of it, but I'd happily take 4,000 back and put it into construction.
So we have amended what we started off with.
Yes, sir. I retract my previous motion and motion that we use the construction account to maximize the purchase of meters using the drop shipment method, paying as we go, negotiating a previous price up front, and then using $4,000 a month from the projected new revenue to replenish the construction account.
All right. We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second for discussion. So with that, Jason, with everything knowledge of water department, what's going on, that's a good move with. And it's just no. And if we need to table this until our next meeting, so you can do more research.
Could you come forward?
If you want to table to the next one, it's fine. Just
Not trying to put you on the spot.
I'm happy to pretend to be on the spot.
We'll try to get some heat off of Jason.
Well, we had projected the base increase 61 cents per meter. 4,000 meters, 12 months. That was 29,280 a year. The per 1,000 gallon charge went up 12 cents per 1,000 gallons. 2016, the county sold 348 million gallons of water. So 12 cent times 348,000, which was 41,760, and that's where the 71,040 came from.
Okay.
So the 29,280 is the guaranteed portion because that's on the base bill.
Okay.
Maybe how are y'all doing as far as usage so far with all the rain we've had?
We're doing all right. Put all money in the bank, that's all I got to say. Go for it.
So the,
No,
He wants me to
man.
quit writing.
the 348 million
Right,
is pretty close to the 5-year average.
right.
If you took the 4,000 a month, but I mean, I think that's probably a safe bet.
Listen, based on your knowledge and the direction that we're going on, is it best to make a decision tonight, or to you guys to do some more research on it? With all the other items and issues that may be going on in the water department?
That I can't tell you. I know what the numbers are.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner. I mean, I know what they are, and looking at what he's done historically, water production and sales, I know we're right around the average.
Right.
2013, in the last 7 years, 2013 is the only off year we had. It rained. It was a wet year.
Right.
Every other year we've been pretty high.
Jonathan, the only reason why I would even push is because of the age of our meters.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's the concern. Time for replacement.
Yeah.
All right, any more discussion? We have a motion.
We got 3 yays already. So
We have a motion and a second. No more discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed?
No. I just don't, I know it's a need, but I just at this time I can't vote for it, not right now.
3 and 2.
So it's a need.
Let's get some meters going. I mean, we can't keep going like
That's
we're going. Okay. Old business, number 2, naming rights for recreation facility.
Mr. Chair, we're just gonna continue to research that one.
Well,
unless the board is ready to go out for school boards and stuff like that, but I know we had a discussion and Matt wanted to do some more research on, I guess, naming rights of the entire park, unless Matt wanna.
Would you rather research it some more, Matt, and bring it back to the board?
I would like to table it for tonight, do some research on the naming of the park, and I'll bring back a policy on school board, so we'll know the roadmap to that.
Sure. Motion to table. Motion to table.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Aye. Ayes have it. Department heads, any department heads here? Like to speak, Matt?
Good.
Ready?
No, sir. Don't have that.
Mr. Risner?
I've got a couple things, Mr. Chairman, if that's okay. Trying to put my hands on my notes here. As we've worked through the budget process with some of the department heads, we've started, Levita and I have started meeting with department heads, going over the budget request for next year. And this just came up late yesterday afternoon, so I apologize for the late notice on this, but as we were meeting with Bobby Bonner, talking about the facilities maintenance budget, there were several items that he was planning to ask for in next year's budget, large capital items. And we were kind of talking about the 2009 SPLOST, the money that is still available there for building maintenance items. You'll recall that we took $100,000 out of that and dedicated that for the animal services building. That still leaves a balance of $166,837.17 that's available for building maintenance projects. And so as we were talking through this, Levita and our suggestion would be to go ahead and do some of these capital projects that he was going to request for next year, this year, and in this fiscal year, out of that 2009 SPLOST money. And there are 5 projects, and I'm coming before you tonight asking just for permission to go out for bid on these. One of the projects, I'll go through these quickly. There are AC units in need of replacement at the courthouse. The total estimated cost there is $13,000 $56. We have drainage issues out front here. When we get a heavy rain at the front entrance, the sidewalks there are flooded, and I think they've actually had water come into the building before, and so there's some major drainage work that needs to be done in the front of this building. The estimated cost there is $18,996. There are 2 air conditioning units that are here at the government center that provide heat and air to the tax commissioner's office that are in need of replacement. The total there is $13,534. There are plumbing issues here in the government center, I think just due to the age of the building and some water lines. We have issues with water quality and that type of thing. And I think they've had several leaks, breaks that have caused some flooding in the building. I think most recently in the district attorney's office. In Bobby's opinion, the entire building needs to be replumbed. He's gotten an estimate there of $8,985. And then the final item is the adult probation office, which is a trailer that's located over by the sheriff's office. That building is in need of a new roof, and the cost there is estimated to be $8,500. And so if you deduct all those amounts from the 166 that is currently available, that still leaves a balance of $103,766.17. And so tonight I would just ask for your permission to go out for bid on those 5 projects.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion. You got a second? Any more discussion?
Chairman, going forward, if we could get some, I know it doesn't matter as far as our vote goes, but 4 out of these 5 will actually reduce operational cost in these buildings. If you could put that number in there, you know, a new air conditioner is going to reduce it by 6% on your utility rate bills. You know, that'd be good information to know that we're reducing the budget by that much, even though it's going to come off the amount that we spend. But this is stuff that's definitely needed.
And I know at one point Bobby did bring up replacing lighting, switching to LEDs. So
hopefully Jason will give us a report on it either now or pretty soon.
Yeah, do y'all want to finish this one up? And I can give you a quick report on that too.
Call for the vote, Chairman.
All right, we got a vote. No more discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Out.
Quick update on the LED. We've thank you to Commissioner Kitchens for providing me some contacts. We've talked to 3 different companies now that do LED lighting retrofits, and we've actually had one here over the last couple of weeks doing a inventory of all our lighting fixtures, and I think we had about 12 facilities that we included. The government center and worked with the sheriff too, and so they've, I think, inventoried the jail as well, plus about 10 other facilities. So kind of the way these things work, and Commissioner Kitchens can speak to this much better than I can, but a lot of times they can work out a shared savings arrangement where you continue paying the same bill for 3 years or 5 years or 8 years or 10 years, and you pay off the work that way, versus having to come out of pocket for some of this work. And after that term expires, then you get the savings on your energy bill every month. So there are 3 different companies that we've talked to, and hopefully I have some proposals to bring to you at some point to review there. Like I said, we've got the one free, no cost, no obligation lighting inventory that's being completed right now. So hopefully have something soon on that.
That's it? No more? All right, we'll move on to commissioners' comments. All department heads through. Start by far left. Commissioner Kitchen, you want to go first?
Go before the citizens.
You through, aren't you, Jason?
No citizens.
I'm sorry?
You said they asked about citizens. No citizens.
No citizens signed in.
No. Just to follow up with Jason, are we going to get both ways what the cost would be and a shared savings cost? Because sometimes it's better to front the money ourselves and do a 2.5 year ROI, and then we're realizing that savings
second year instead of paying out 8 years and then recognizing it. Good, I get to go first because I get to be the first one to say this, but I think we need to reach out to the mayor and the city council and just let them know our appreciation for the donation for the inclusive playground. And not only that, the working relationship. You know, we've heard 1,000 times before about how governments don't work together, but you know, we're proving that you know, working together for a common good benefits everybody. And I think that's it just needs to be known, needs to let them know that we appreciate the working relationship.
Mr. Pitt? Yeah, Mr. Chair, I want to reiterate what Commissioner Kitchensman thanked Mayor Pro Tem Barbie for the support and helping us out with this inclusive playground, and even listen to us when it comes to the sewer issue with our Parks and Recreation Department. So I want to thank you guys for that, and looking forward to, you know, building upon our relationship. So thank you so much for that. I want to bring to the board's attention a letter I received from the Senior Center, and I'm making sure I make a copy and have a bunch of signatures about the seniors are not satisfied with the transportation they're receiving from Quality Transportation, so that you guys are aware of it, so that if we can find another transportation vendor for them, I think it'll be worthwhile. They're complaining about the heat. They're complaining about riding on vans with people that may be in a mental institution. They're not feeling safe. And if you know you have one of your loved ones riding this van, would you want them in that van? So I think we really need to take some time and do some research on trying to improve the quality of transportation that they receive, because right now it's not quality transportation. And that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Robinson?
Yes, during our work session, we talked about naming rights for the Central Complex and also advertising. And just so people know that we're getting the ball rolling on that, and that every penny that does come in from that will be a savings to the taxpayers of Jones County. That's all I got.
Okay. Commissioner Martin?
Just want to thank you guys for funding the long overdue 49 park. It's been time. Hopefully we can get that up and running in the next week or so. Youth are the lifeblood of our community, and they say it's the lifeblood of a church. If you don't have youth, you have a dead church. If you don't have youth, you have a dead community. It takes an investment to make it work. I'm excited the park's moving in the right direction, because we've been catching enough flack for years on that, and hopefully sewer connectivity with the city will help expedite that and get the park open faster, along with some other things we can do. I'm on the Workforce Investment Board. New budget cycle's coming up. On average, we have $5.7 million a year for the 10 counties, not including Macon. Jones County has to reach in and grab those dollars. The only way to do that, City, County, Board of Ed must partner. I don't know what the graduation rate is in Jones County right now. I know it used to be around 78, 81-ish, which means there's 20-ish sitting at home. Those 20 sitting at home, there's $1.297 million that we have for out-of-school youth, kids between 16 and 24 that have not gotten a college degree or either a GED or a certification. We sent back $700,000 to Cobb County because we didn't use it in the area. I just became chair. I don't want to send any more money out of county, and I don't want our county to not get their fair share. So we got to work out some arrangement between City, County, Board of Ed to get access to our kids that have not graduated. Again, ages 16 to 24, getting them a GED, college, and or a certification, because the money's there.
Could we work with Central Georgia Tech, being they got the GED program?
They are a partner. Their numbers are our numbers, and we have to. The issue is FERPA, the Federal Education Rights Protection Act for Children. The Board of Ed can't give us the kids' information who are not graduating. And the sad part is they just kind of go into the wind. But we're a county government where we're funding workforce investment, and it's federal dollars. So South Carolina figured out how to do it. I don't know why Georgia hasn't. But locally, we have to figure out how to do it. The Board of Ed, I don't know if they need to just drop the kids' names who didn't pass and who are not graduating, and we pick it up, or we give them a pre-addressed envelope that says, hey, here's all the services we provide, you need to come. But we know our kids are. If they get it, they throw it in a pile. Because right now I'm trying to figure out what I do next because my mom and dad's on me. But if there's 300 kids that graduated, that means there's 60 kids sitting at home. And go back a year, that's now 120, 180, 240. And again, we sent $700,000 out of county. Guys, I'm telling you, let's get access to the money. Baldwin County and Houston County is taking their fair share. Jones County, we haven't figured out how to do that yet. So if you have a relationship, a partnership, let's figure that out. We had Gear Up at one point, but Gear Up is gone. And that was another one of those liaison groups where we could get access to the kids. We need access as soon as the Board of Ed knows that these kids are not going to graduate. Let us have access, or at least give us, the means to do it.
Another comment, Commissioner Martin, not to cut you off, but can you share the model that Houston is using or Baldwin is using so that, or you can't share that?
I don't know.
Okay, you don't know.
But they're figuring it out faster than we are.
Okay.
And I don't know how they're doing it. And I've asked at the governor's level with one of the commissioners, hey, talk to the governor, have him talk to the state director for education and say, hey, this is not an issue for Georgia because it's all, intergovernmental. It shouldn't be an issue. We fund a position in Jones County from the Board of Ed through the Jones County Board of Commissioners, and that person still can't get me the information. So, they're a dual employee. And again, that person can protect the information better than anybody else. So we need to work that out. And we were talking about that in front of the grand opening on 49. I forget her name already, I'm sorry. But we have an opportunity there. So that's kind of it. We'll be going around with the Workforce Investment Board, 49 District, Joy Cliff, and I'm going to reach out to Haley to also get that same information to employers in the employer activity that we can do. We can do OJT and pay for the first 6 weeks of an employee at a job. So why not? And then if there is ever any transition or opportunity for new employees to get further training, we can pay for that. Much like the Bowen scenario where Bowen was getting downsized, we can retool, retrain, and pay for it. And if we've got citizens in those same sort of challenges, it's out there. So if you're on chambers and other boards, let them know we have access to resources. Thank you.
Joe, do you have anything tonight?
No, sir, thank you.
At this time, we got citizens' comments. 1 minute. Anybody like to come forward? Anybody like to come forward? I'd need a motion to adjourn and go into executive session for personnel.
Second.
Second. We have a motion second. Those coming off. Favor aye.
Ask me about Camp Sweat. Camp Sweat.